Sinner waits to clear his next major obstacle after Australian Open. The tennis schedule is as busy as ever, but there's always a bit of a come down after the first Grand Slam temporarily blows away any January blues. The Australian Open was a triumph in attendance numbers, breaking the 3-week record. There was also a monumental performance from Madison Keys that broke Aryna Sabalenka's spirit and racket to create an unexpected new champion and storyline. On the men's side, the fireworks were provided by Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic in their last-date clash. Ultimately, the battles elsewhere were a sideshow, a mere footnote to Jannik Sinner's supreme dominance at the event. The gap between the Australian Open and the next Grand Slam at Roland Garros always feels interminable. The opening serve on Philippe Chatrier will be delivered on 5 May. That signals the start of 3 slams within a 3-month period. The time to kill between the final at Melbourne and the French Open will contain multiple whispers about whether Sinner will be in the main draw. In early April, the Court of Arbitration for Sport will hear WADA's challenge of the original decision to clear the Italian of any wrongdoing after he twice tested positive for the banned substance clostebol. If found guilty, the 13-year-old man could be banned for between 1 and 2 years. Sinner's character and integrity have never been openly questioned despite the torrent, or trickle, of opinion from players grumbling about the application of the doping rules. Holger Rune wasn't happy about the 3-time slam champion taking a 10-minute medical timeout in their 4-set match last month, but it was hardly earth-shattering gamesmanship. Rune complains about a lot in the court. The Italian was as free as a bird down under when he won 2 straight sets off Alex de Minaur, then Shelton, and Alexander Zverev. Sinner's position to move and play freely will soon be in the balance though. The doping hearing is an obdurate obstacle that lingers whether the appeal is upheld or dismissed. The athlete's personal responsibility is pitched at such a high level in this new age of professionalism that it is difficult to remove the stain such a scenario carries. Circumstances matter and innocence does too, but the tour of duty is ruthless when there's even a perceived act of unfair play. The recently retired Simona Halep might be quick to tell you how champions can be tainted forever despite being partially cleared. Although the Romanian's case had specifics that aren't comparable, the Italian hasn't tried to avoid questions on the matter even after claiming the trophy at Melbourne. It's a fact that he is facing the charges and still doing the business on court. The murmurs and the constant rumblings about the process, or perceived lack of equality in the way these things are handled, is something that the tennis authorities must think hard about. Playing under a cloud that always puffs up in the public eye has a wearing effect. Eventually, there were nights I couldn't sleep. For instance, the night before my match against Medvedev at Wimbledon, I hardly slept and woke up feeling awful, Sinner admitted in an interview with Ski Italia. It was obvious to most onlookers that something wasn't right on center court that day. Despite going out, he has since managed to make the tennis court his safe place with a current 3-8 match-winning streak. My job was to separate the issue from my work. I always tried to stay focused on the court. I trained and remained mentally ready to play well. Everyone plays well, but I've won matches because of my mental strength. I don't think players are that sophisticated in tennis. It's not their culture. I don't think it's in their nature, said Pete Sampras 11 years ago when questioned about the levels of doping in the game. Jannik Sinner possesses Sampras-like qualities in his nature and efficiency to get the job done. The total certainty that he is innocent and would beat Zverev never left him. The uncertainty that he carries over until the question mark over guilt is deleted will challenge him more than the opposition in the coming weeks.